episode of Cocktails and Conversation with Caroline. I'm so excited to have my model mentor on the debut episode of this new talk show that is dedicated to celebrating plus size women and the plus size community. So now I'm going to introduce Charlene. She is a plus size blogger, model, and all things glamorous. Cocktail of choice is going to be a tropical rum punch inspired by Ricardo, which is authentic coconut rum straight from the Bahamas. Just purchased this yesterday, just landed yesterday. So this is fresh, authentic Bohemian rum. And it is 60 proof. So we about to be a little tipsy during this episode. Stay tuned. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Cocktails and Conversation with Caroline. I am excited to introduce our guest today, Charlene. So I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself, and I'm going to jump into our questions. So tell them who you are.
Hello friends, my name is Charlene Chanel Fateau. I am a lifestyle blogger based out of the city of Boston, but I am also a city planner by day. I do that by trade. I've been doing city planning for a little bit over 2 years now, but I've been working as a public servant since I was about 18 years old, maybe 17.
So what actually got you started in plus size blogging, modeling?
It was actually an ex-boyfriend of mine. He used to really watch me like put on clothes every day and really like jazz up myself, and he's like, why don't you just make this a thing? And I was like, make this a thing? Like, yeah, like, you know, girls online who talk about their clothing, and I was like, we'll dabble into it. So I first started off with Tumblr, and I was just posting different women, myself, different finds I would find online, and I didn't even realize there was this whole community of plus size women already doing this. So then I started to find my way in there, and then he got a camera for his birthday or something of that nature. So then I was able to start taking professional pictures, and while I was taking those professional pictures, I was also curating Suffolk University's international fashion show that they have, and this was the first time they've actually used plus size models. So I reached out to a few brands, pitched them, and asked them for clothing, and then here we are. This is where I kind of just went. Doing this? That was in 2012. Okay. 2012 sounds like a hard estimate for when I started doing it.
8 years, okay.
Yep. Oh wow, yeah, it's been
that's
some
a while.
time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was just like, you know, I'm a natural researcher, so it was a lot of researching and picking up as I go, and I'm finally in the space to say that I have an agency behind me, so the agency actually helps me do a lot of my negotiation as well as growth strategy, and I just started with them this month, and it's already showing like great success.
Did you get Loft through?
No, Loft was all homegrown. That was really great, but they are gonna help me get a lot of my we break our stuff up into, so they've already helped me exceed the amount of money that I wanted to make in 1 month, so I can't wait to continue moving with them. Oh,
nice. So do you see yourself leaving your full-time job to pursue this 100% if it's paying enough?
No, I actually do love plus size blogging. It's great, but public service is near and dear to my heart, and I often find ways to marry the two. I do feel like what I do is a service to plus size women, whether it's looking for clothes, whether it's talking about mental health and weight, whether it's talking about dating, whether it's talking about my experiences as a plus size woman and being a voice. I feel like that is a service. It's a public service, and it'll always continue to be part of my background, but helping vulnerable communities, helping this world change and be a better place for everyone, be a more equitable place for everyone, that's something that I think I'll always continue to strive for. I may go into consulting at one point, but for right now, I like the trajectory that I'm in.
So before we go to another question, I want to let you guys know that our cocktail for today's episode is Rum Punch. It's a tropical blend. I brought home from the Bahamas some rum called Ricardo, which is authentic coconut rum from the Bahamas.
So good.
See, it's so good. It is. I know, right? It is 60% proof. So if we start stuttering in our words, or I don't even know what's gonna happen to me, honestly. Stay tuned. Bye. Charlene talked to us a bit about her plus size blogging and modeling. I was hoping you could discuss with us just some advice for new plus size models. I know for me, you have like a huge following. and
there.
I'm not someone who knows. I'm not someone who cares about following, so I don't know how to get following because I don't know necessarily what to do. What is some advice that you can give to plus size models who are up and coming on what they can do to get more following or engage?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what has been like the most important was staying true to myself, because in order for you to grow, especially not just in the sphere of blogging, but just to grow in general, you have to be passionate about what you are, and that passion could only come from being true to yourself. You really can't fake the funk when it comes to this stuff. So if you see a lot of my posts, I may be one of the bloggers who have like the lengthier posts, the ones that have lots and lots of words, or even my stories. They're not carefully curated and such. They could be super, super random, but that has helped me attract the people who wants to follow me. I've never really been the type to be able to replicate what other people do, because after a while I feel like I'm losing myself, and no matter how much money is really part of this game, it never really can sustain me. That's why public service is important to me, because no matter how low or little I'm making, I know there's impact there. And I can only make impact from inside myself. But now in 2020, if you're looking to grow and grow along with aligning it with what your passions are, there are so many hubs for helping people, especially influencers, grow without even having to start a blog. I would always caution people to start a blog, because if Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, any of that were to leave, your followers would know to find you on your blog. That's something that you own, that's your domain, that's something that you can do. However, one of my really good friends, her name is Hyatt Rita. She just started the Rita Collective. She's actually the young lady who brought us being like 30 of us to Ghana for 2 times. Actually, I went with her, and she is killing it in this industry. Currently, she works at Facebook and Instagram, but before that, she worked at a firm in Chicago, an agency firm, and she knows marketing like nobody's business. So she developed a platform so that people who are looking to become influencers or bloggers to find their way through her channels, like her things that worked for her, what didn't work for her. And honestly, she's the person that brands contact to develop influencer modules. So it's like, hey, how can we pitch this type of idea to influencers? So she already knows what's in the marketing person's head. And I try to tell everyone, go to her. I'm not getting paid to say it. I'm just saying that if you're looking to do it, and not just do it fast and quick, but do it with a lot of like mentorship, because she does provide mentorship behind it, then you should go to her, because she's already on her way to making her $1 million in a year. She's moved into this beautiful place in Chicago. She is Ghanaian. She's a beautiful woman of color. She has a great soul, and I think it's important that there are bloggers out there who are truly mentoring other people to step into this realm. I myself don't feel like I'm well equipped to do so, because I know that mine came from a place of Charlene does what works for Charlene. What works for me may not work for you, and what works for someone else may not work for the other person. But I know for me, at least, what has helped was really just upping a lot of my quality, making sure that I'm connecting with my audience, and not connecting with them for the sake of saying I want to keep my followers. But you guys actually give me like a lot of the dose of medicine that I need every day. So being able to connect with other women and men who are like-minded like myself makes a lot of like headway in towards a growth for blogging. But again, you can't fake the funk. You really need to find what your passion is, and naturally it starts to come to you. You don't really face a lot of attrition unless you become a one-trick pony, then people start to notice that.
So what projects or exciting stuff do you have coming up?
Let me see. I don't know if I can talk about them because of NDAs.
Okay, then don't. What about New York Fashion Week? You just came back from
New York Fashion Week was great. I love it. The only thing I don't like about New York Fashion Week is there's probably 1 or 2 or 3 shows plus size people could go to. Typically it's the Chromat show, Christian Siriano, because those 2 designers are typically very inclusive. I know Stephanie Edwards did something this year where she has like a wrap collection, so beautiful. Like, I'm not too sure if they're like captains or wraps, but I'll share the link. She is amazing. But as far as the main stage shows go, you don't get to see a lot of interaction with body inclusive designers, which kind of sucks, but you can go to a lot of their like capsule collections that they're having, or pop-ups, or like different things that they're having. I also went to an event with my best friend Essie Golden that was a cross between Delta and Amex, and it was amazing. Like there was a ceviche bar. I got to make my own towels with my initials on it. I got to get some sunglasses. I kept drinking and drinking and drinking. I got to meet up with AJ, who I met when I was in Ghana, and now he's like a stylist, a really big stylist out here, so in New York. It was an amazing time while I was there. I got to do some nightly activities that were a little crazy. I got to eat, of course, in New York, we're always eating. And then I also got to see the billboard reveal out in Times Square.
Billboard.
Yes, when I shot for the Loftimus campaign. So that was really
cool. I feel like crying for you.
I was emotional. I was somewhat emotional, mostly because the person that I went with, he's like very near and dear to my heart. We're really, really close friends, and like he's kind of stood by me this entire time. Mm-hmm. So for me to share that space with someone who's always been like my biggest cheerleader felt really, really good. But also just seeing myself in a space where I never even thought I would see myself was a different feeling in itself. It wasn't even emotion. It was just like almost, what do you call this? Imposter syndrome. It's like, how did you get up there? Like, who did you swindle to get up there? But it's like, no, this is a culmination of 8 years. This is a culmination of work. This is a culmination of finding an agency for yourself. This is a culmination of having 3 jobs. Like, you know, my blog is very much a job. I was in school full time for a long time. I went into grad school, and that was an emotional hurdle. I lost my grandmother. Like, last year was like the ghettoest year of my life, like true ghetto fashion. I don't know how I got through it, but through that year, it just catapulted me to here. You know, we're in a retrograde season or whatever, but like I don't see that messing up with what God has destined for me to have, and I'm just gonna continue walking in that light.
Yeah. And talk to me about this retrograde season. What does that mean? I've heard of it. My friend told me about it. And I was told you're not supposed to enter relationships during the season, or
so retrograde. I mean,
my relationship went to shit immediately. Did I tell you that? Okay.
No, but now that I know, okay, well, fuck Miami then. Okay, well, now that I know, so for me in retrograde season last year, I didn't know much about retrograde. I just remember my photographer coming to shoot me at Austin Hotel or something, and he saw that there was a Mercury like paintings there, and he was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's crazy that you're staying in this room, and you know the earth is in retrograde. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I've been seeing my therapist, and my therapist, she's very much into like, you know, a holistic way of healing. She lends her spirituality and senses from different places, but she also understands what lunar activity is, what does planetary movements mean for people. So when I found out that Saturn was in retrograde last year, and it was really, really bad for me, I guess it just means there's like a lot of topsy-turviness happening. So you're not supposed to sign contracts. You're not supposed to really go into any commitments. You're not really supposed to do anything that is supposed to be binding in a good way. Yeah. So I ignored all of that because I've never heard of that stuff. And with that, I don't want to say I received punishment from that, but I do realize that last year during that retrograde, that was when I was the most unaware of myself. Yeah. So when I was that unaware, I was making decisions on a whim. I was talking to whomever, doing whatever, spending whatever, falling into decisions that really like took me into places where I had to be hospitalized a couple times. Mm-hmm. So now knowing that it is a retrograde season, I'm not looking at this as, oh, the planets are gonna fuck me up again. It's more so going to be, this is a time where you gotta be very mindful of everything that you do. I think we always need times to snap back and say you need to be mindful of the choices that you're making, the people that you're talking to, the decisions that you deem to be good, to be bad, the health decisions that I clearly like stopped making a long time ago. This time during retrograde, instead of looking at it as oh, the planetary shifts are going to throw me off. It's my time to be intentional. If I haven't been intentional this whole time, let this be the time where you pay attention.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day was a few days ago. So in honor of Valentine's Day, I'm going to ask you a few relationship questions.
Sure. I'm not the expert by any means.
I thought I was, but I'm not. I'm not. Like, being in a relationship was the most humbling experience for me because I would be giving people relationship advice. And I've been in relationships before, but my most recent relationship, like, tore me apart, chewed me out, spit me out.
Well, it's different. From the outside looking in, it's so different. But when you're actually experiencing something, that's your own world you're creating. You can't quite, it's different.
Yeah. And I was like, the whole time I was like, I apologize to anyone I've ever given a relationship, look at me, I'm drunk. Relationship is not a hard word. Advice to, cause like it was hard. And I'm like, I'm so glad to be out of it. Like, I'm so happy to be single.
Good.
And I think for me,
you are.
I'm the type that if I'm in a relationship and I'm not as happy as I was when I was single, then there's no point.
Yeah.
So, question. According to you, what are the 3 most important things to consider when looking for a long-term partner? 3.
So, number 1 for me, the foundation always has to be open and honest communication. If you're not really open to having those tough conversations, not really open to letting me into your life, if you're not really open to just communicating just what your needs are and letting me communicate what my needs are, if you're not even into letting me speak, then letting me let you speak, that causes a lot of issues for me. Like, the lack of communication in relationships have always been something that I would red flag immediately. Yeah. So that's a number 1. A number 2, someone that's pretty like family oriented, but not just family oriented, like family oriented like encased in God, if that makes sense. So someone that understands that there's mission for myself and hopefully us together to want to establish a family, and not just establish a family to say that we have one, but to help build some financial literacy there, to help build a legacy there, to help continue helping just the world understand that we push forward beautiful people into this world, and we want to help bring them into healthy families and bring more love into this world. And I feel like that's a really good way of doing that is through having a family. Not saying that I couldn't do it as a singular person, but being able to just spread my love all over the world is beautiful. Lastly, I don't know. I know those 2 really are solid for me. Also, someone that's just really ambitious. Someone that's ambitious to the point where I know I've been in a relationship with someone where I was like at work all the time, and although I did make a lot of time for him, he had everything but time. He was just like, you know what, like, I have time to see you today, but like I'm hanging out with my friends. Or it would always be the laziest things. The only thing that I was okay that he really was like down and adamant about was like he had to go to church. I was like, fine, that's you, that's your time with God, I get that. But outside of that, like, he really wasn't doing a lot of anything, including working, like an actual job. He would lay up at my apartment a lot, and I'm like, maybe he's stressed, maybe he needs this downtime. But after 6 months, I was like, you really stuck in this a lot longer than you needed to. And he had no ambition to do anything. He was okay with collecting unemployment. He was okay with like, oh, this was $800. That's great. Like, I don't have to pay rent. We'll be good. I don't like that. Like, I felt like every day I grew to have the strong angst against him, and it just wasn't enough. So
girl, that's exactly what I went through myself. I feel like when you're an ambitious woman, like the 2 of us, I feel like we're extremely ambitious. So there's women who are not so ambitious at all, somewhat ambitious, extra ambitious. I feel like you and I are extra ambitious, extremely goal-oriented, looking to be severely successful. Not everyone, and it's nothing wrong if someone's not like that. That's fine. Not everyone, some people, that's not the goal, but I think that is ours. And I think dating someone who's not, especially me, I'm Nigerian, and Nigerian men I don't think they're used to women who are so outgoing, vocal, extroverted, and they don't know how to, and that's what my friend said, just doesn't know how to handle you.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of men, particularly African men, are used to women who are submissive or rely on them. So when you're actually like, I hate using the word, but when you're independent and you literally, I don't need you to pay my bills, and I can pay for both of us. Like, it makes them so uncomfortable. Like, I remember going on a date last year, and I took out my wallet, and the guy, he was so angry. He was like, "Are you trying to embarrass me?" So African. I was like, stop. But like, he's like, why would you think you have? But then I've been on dates. I was on a date where the bill was $15, and the guy asked to split it. $15, seven, and I'm like, listen, man, I pay for everything. I'll never see you again. So for me, I think I don't expect a man to. I'm not the type that needs to date a man that is extremely wealthy or rich, but I would like at least 50-50. Like, at least, like, I'm very giving in every way, particularly like gifts wise. I have as you know, I have like I see you're wearing your bracelet.
Yeah, I do it all day.
I have an obsession with giving people gifts, and I tend to give gifts very prematurely in a relationship. Yeah. And I've learned that my most recent one, like, I need to not do that. And because I'm so giving, I think I have to like teach myself to calm down. Yeah. But I also deserve to be with someone who's also giving. You know, even if I understand I believe in being a supportive partner. But also, like, if I'm helping you and you're not helping yourself, and you're not actually taking my advice or doing anything, and I don't see growth in you, it's so unattractive. And it literally makes me like lose attraction to you. Yeah. And if I lose attraction to you to the point where I'm attracted to other men or looking at, like, you know, I've been in some relationships where I don't even consider other guys. Like, my partner I'm so into my partner that I don't even see other guys. But if I'm in a relationship with you and I'm still interested in something out there, then it's not fair. Like, I have no respect for people who cheat. I'm like, leave the relationship. Yeah. Like, exit the relationship, don't cheat. So on the topic of Valentine's Day, I have a fun question. What is the weirdest thing that has happened to you on a date?
Besides getting stood up, I thought that was kind of weird. I thought that only happened in movies. The weirdest thing that ever happened is when this guy's check card bounced, like it was this decline, and I didn't bring my purse either, or I left it in the car or the hotel, wherever it was. I know that I left it somewhere else, so then I had to call my mom to go home and get my spare card and bring it to the restaurant. My mom, she brought my spare card to the restaurant, and she looked at me like, "You look like a common whore. Like, are you serious? Like, is this what's happening?" And I'm like, yes.
Was the guy still there?
The guy was still there.
Did he look embarrassed?
He didn't look embarrassed. He's just like, "Oh, wow, I can't believe this happened." And I'm like, and the bill was like $70 max. Like, it was like TJF or something like that. It was like a meetup or something.
What excuse did he make for his card declining?
He said, "Oh, I don't got the right card." I'm like, "Oh, that's what's up." This is before Cash App. I'm like, can I just Cash App the restaurant? Can I Apple Pay? Can I Venmo? Like, you know, anything wireless? They're like, no. And I'm just like,
Did you see him again?
We hung out a couple times after. He's picked up the tab two or three times after. I think what the kicker was is that he was still in a relationship. So that's actually
he was cheating.
Yeah, he was cheating and broke. The nerve, right? No, he wasn't African.
Sorry.
The one time someone said, "Hey, try something different." He was something different. So
okay, we won't go there.
Yeah,
something different. Let's talk about dating something different. So I'm thinking of crossing over to the other side, because I only date
women.
No.
Oh.
No. I have rare moments where I'm like, I wish I was a lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, so I not only do I date like black men, I date like tall black men who are big, and so like
look at you black men.
Yeah, like football player physique. So like the you were to line up all the guys I've ever dated, they all look like brothers.
Oh. Okay.
Like exactly alike. Like I have a type. So I tried dating in my last relationship. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna try to date. There's some like white men with swag. You know, like the ones that are like athletes.
I hope you're not looking for confirmation from me.
Yes, We're not going there.
So, to preference a lot of this, I went to a lot of predominantly white institutions all the way through my master's program. So, I've never like had an innate attraction towards white men. If I did, it was usually a crush on a teacher, like someone very intellectual. Yeah. It was really someone who like shared a lot of my music interests, but I couldn't full circle like look at them and be like, "Ooh, wow, this person gets me like."
Why though? Doesn't that bother you that we can't like?
Just like not every man's going to be attracted to a plus size or a black woman. I just feel like either I haven't met that man that's going to make me feel that way, or it's just not in me to just like, I've never been, oh my gosh, Channing Tatum. Yeah. But like, I would have a crush on my professor who's like really disgusting looking and like, is just real, but his brain is so amazing and we could talk forever, but that won't sustain anything. Like, I won't want to touch you. I won't want to lay with you. Oh my God. I probably won't want to be with you in that way, but we can talk forever. And those are just more intellectual crushes. Mm-hmm. And I have those with black men too. There are just black men who I can only really take for like our conversations, and I'm very much a sapiosexual, but I cannot really get in, like, it needs to be a little bit more holistic as far as that is. Am I mad at the fact of that? No. I'm just more so, I don't know, if it's for me, if there's going to be a white or Asian or Spanish, because those are like 3 men I have not dated before, if they're going to be out there, and it's not like I like push them away, it's just I don't have this attraction for them. I just haven't found the one yet.
Let me ask you something. So since I created a plus size page, my DMs are full of perverts, more ever than any page I've ever had. Like just men. What is it about men targeting the plus size women with all these sexual? Men have sent me pictures of their penises and it's just repulsive to me. And I've never experienced it on any of my other Instagram pages until this. So I feel like I'm wondering, like, are men like searching plus size and like it must be like a fetish to them?
Yeah.
So and I'm getting like Indian men, a lot of men from India.
I get a lot of men from India, different parts of West Africa. A lot of older white trailer men who like take pictures in their trailer with their dog and their gun. Like, I get a lot of those guys. And I'm just not attracted to those guys. I'm not their approach either.
Sexy guy? Like, I haven't.
I mean, when I get the sexy guy though, sometimes, and this could be like the plus size, like shaving me, but sometimes I'm like, nah, you got bad girls somewhere. Nah, you're too fine to be like X, Y, and Z. I'd probably rather find myself dating on LinkedIn than I would on any other social media platform, only because you get to kind of get a good landscape of someone outside of what you paint on social media. You can still paint a pretty fraudulent picture on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn's like verified accounts and people know you. Girl,
I got catfished on LinkedIn.
See, that's why I haven't used it. No, I didn't know.
2-3 months ago, some man hit me up on LinkedIn looking fine. I'm like, oh, it's LinkedIn, so I believed it. We talked for like, it only went on for a few hours until he sent me a passport to prove that he was who he was. And this was the most photoshopped passport I've ever seen in my life. And then I called him out on it, and then I blocked him, and then he hit me up on a different number, and then he decided to FaceTime me in the dark and was like, we're in love, so I wanted to expose my true self, like Shrek coming out of the darkness. He was like in the dark, and then he like turned on the light, and it wasn't the same person at all.
Oh my gosh, you need to sell that story to a producer, because that is going to be so good. He was
like completely not, like some tooth missing. He's like, but I know we have chemistry, like, so you're a bloody user. I'm like, you're not the same person. He was like so offended and was like cursing me out. I'm like,
I don't know why people get so offended when people don't find them attractive. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm just so used to having my own preferences or like being attracted. I'm never really mad if someone does not find me attractive. Now, if you go out of your way to be like, you're ugly, fat, whatever, that's just you being me.
Yeah.
But if I don't find someone attractive, or if someone does not find me attractive, I don't think there should be a beef there. And I don't think people should really chastise people for not liking them. Like, there's billions of people on this earth. You want me to have to like you? Like, I'm not one of those, the plus size girls, you should take me for what I am. No, you should take me if you like me. If you don't like me, there's other people you can like, and I am A-okay with that.
So you mentioned that guys in your DM who are super attractive, you're not sure their true intention. I actually have a friend, I'm not gonna say his name obviously, who's extremely attractive.
Hey, friend.
I told you about this friend.
Oh.
He doesn't think he is. And it's like, I have multiple friends, women and men, who are like attractive in terms of like what society would define as attractive. Like, brown hair, blonde eyes, like beautiful, gorgeous model, and they do not think they're attractive. And one of my friends mentioned to me when I discussed creating the show that, it's important, yes, to celebrate plus size women, but to also recognize that there are women who aren't plus size who struggle with confidence and who don't think they're beautiful, and they are. There's some people who, everyone's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there's some people who don't maintain themselves well.
Yeah.
And as such, they don't come off as attractive because they don't care about themselves, and they come off as sloppy.
Uh-huh.
But I think everyone's beautiful. But she said it's amazing how to see plus size women particularly who are truly confident. Like, I believe, like, for me, I personally have never struggled with low self-esteem. And I don't know if it's because culturally being plus size is normal for the Nigerian culture, and it's also a big part of my mom. My weight was just never something that
felt like a
hindrance at all. So people are surprised by my confidence because it's real. It's not fake. It's not there's a lot of people on Instagram and on social media who are not confident. Right. They'll take a picture, they'll pose, and then they'll go
Facetune.
Like Facetune
7 apps later.
Yeah, and that's not true confidence. And I think it's not even fair to portray yourself that way to social media because it's fake.
Yeah.
And it's like giving people a false confidence of yourself. So what are some advice or guidance that you have for people who struggle with self-esteem or confidence or loving themselves?
Well, at first, I just want to acknowledge that every day is not going to be a good day. As someone who's had to embark on this journey many times, I have to recognize that today I might feel really good and tomorrow might not be a good day. However, that does not take away from the fact that I'm amazing, that I am actually beautiful, whether I would like to acknowledge it in that moment or not, and that I can continue to produce greatness. A lot of my confidence didn't really come from the outside as much as the imposter syndrome that I was talking about earlier. Me not thinking that I deserve the man, I deserve the job, I deserve the whatever it is that you feel like you lack that confidence in. Sometimes that stems from what they see on the outside, but for me, it was always on the inside. Once I was able to work and fix that on the inside, it was really hard for me to face some of those, oh, I don't look good enough, or I'm not enough, or like I have a skin condition, it's called HS, I don't know how to really pronounce it, but it's like when little balls of like abscesses form throughout my skin. And I used to want to not date for a very long time because I remember a few guys asking me, what's that? And I thought people would start confusing it with like a condition that they could catch something from me or something. So that took a lot for me to come out of that grave because it's not a curable thing. I actually started going on a lot of groups and looking up hashtags and realizing it's a lot more common, and it's also sometimes associated with people who are bigger. So I was just like, you know what? I understand where it's coming from. I understand it's not going to go away. Does that mean I'm going to continue to live in a shadow, or am I going to like live my best life? So I remember, I think it was like 2015, I was just like, you know what? You want to go on vacations. You want to go to Mexico. You want to go to Jamaica. You want to go to St. Lucia. You want to go to Ghana. All these places you have to show your legs. It's way too hot to do otherwise. So I had no choice but to go out. And not one person said anything about my legs. It was all in my head. And I think that's where the lack of confidence comes from. A lot of it is all in your head. You taking in what society thinks should be perfect, that's all in your head. Because guess what? Regardless of what you look like on the outside, if you are qualified, you can get the job. The job that is for you will be there. The guy, The guy that is for you is out there. The girl that is for you is out there. The only thing that's stopping is that process from happening is you and this false narrative that you've created in your head. Your low self-esteem that you've created for yourself is actually stopping you from attaining any of that. So once you start to get right with yourself, once you start to actually believe in what you are worth and what you deserve, those things start to dissipate. Yes, you'll have your bad days, but you always have to bring it right back to where it started. You deserve.
I'm gonna start crying. Before I start crying, we are going to end today's show. Charlene, thank you for coming and being my first guest.
Thank you for having me.
So stay tuned, y'all, for the next episode. I am on my way to LA, so I'm gonna be looking for plus size women in Los Angeles who are interested in being in the show, or if you want to recommend someone, just comment below or wherever the comment section is. And follow Charlene. What's your Instagram?
Charlene Chanel. CHARDLINECHANEL.
I'm drunk. And stay tuned to our next episode. I don't know what it's going to be about, who it's going to be about, but there is going to be another delicious cocktail. Bye!